The ANC has refused to implement Clause 19.3 of the Statement of Intent that requires sufficient consensus to resolve disputes, directly undermining the GNU and the original Statement of Intent. And the President's now refusal to act against corruption within his own ranks, but singling out as a priority a DA Deputy Minister, risks confirming that his oft-repeated public commitment to clean governments is a sham. Until he replaces words with action against corruption within his own ranks, the DA sees no further point in wasting our breath in endless talk shops with the ANC. For that reason, the Democratic Alliance's Federal Executive, which met at 1 p.m. today, has resolved to withdraw from the national dialogue with immediate effect. In the absence of a president who's prepared to take action against VBS looters and state capture accused sitting around the cabinet table, it is clear that the dialogue will be reduced to nothing more than a waste of time and money to distract from ANC failures. And this explains why they are so obsessed with it. It's clearly an electioneering ploy at taxpayers' expense to gloss over the serious crises that they have plunged South Africa into. The dialogue also has no constitutional standing whatsoever to take or impose decisions. Frankly, if the President cannot even dialogue sufficiently and meaningfully with his own coalition partners, there is little point to pretending that there's any substance to an ANC-run national dialogue. In fact, the President has repeatedly promised a breakaway to engage with GNU party leaders. But a year later, despite several promises that this would take place, nothing has happened. After every single crisis the GNU has faced, this so-called breakaway or Bosbarat has been mooted. Plans are made, but never comes to fruition. Similarly, a proposed breakaway for the cabinet to deal with how we interact with each other as cabinet members and resolve disputes and disagreements that will inevitably arise in a government made up of more than 10 political parties. A year later, nothing has happened. No breakaway, no dialogue, and no mechanisms internally to determine how we deal with disputes between each other when they arise. Plus, I make the point that we have already had a national dialogue last year. It's called an election. And the people said very clearly in that election that they do not want to have anything to do with ANC one-party arrogance or domination. So, effective immediately, and until action is taken against those corrupt individuals, the DA will have no further part in this process. We will also actively mobilize against it in order to stop the obscene waste of 740 million rand of public money, starting with a call on all civil society bodies in South Africa to join us in demanding that the dialogue not proceed until President Ramaphosa fires ANC corrupt individuals in the national executive, as well as other delinquents. Because the reality is, no matter what the dialogue resolves, no matter how many noble resolutions it may take, and no matter how many feel-good moments it has, nothing will change in South Africa for the better if we keep the same people around the cabinet table who have involved themselves in corruption, maladministration, and misleading of Parliament. The people of South Africa should not be taken for fools. They know that any national dialogue is utterly meaningless if it's presided over by the criminals and the corrupt and those who provide a safe refuge for them. A second and critically important step that the DA is taking is to vote against upcoming departmental budget votes for the departments headed by Similani Nkabane and other corruption-accused ANC ministers. And we will keep voting against those budget votes until those ministers are removed. In this way, the DA will strike a responsible and appropriate balance by allowing the broader GNU budget process to proceed to ensure the stability of the country, while forcing the ANC to act against those specific ministers who the public now demand are removed.